just slips away so quickly. It's the relativity of age, isn't it? Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Wednesday, the 24th of January. So, well, what's going on in these markets, he asks. There's a question. So firstly, let's have a look at the news events coming out today. It's just flick on. I'm just going to use. No, I'm not going to use that one at all. I'm going to use that one over there. I'll make my mind up here at the moment. There's not a great deal, but there is all these. Well, it's the flash. It's the flash data. It's the flash day. Services and manufacturers. So we got this right the way across. We got European data, we got the UK data, and then we got the US data. All the same data coming. Not the same data, as actual data, but the same numbers coming out for the manufacturing data and the services data. Now, these in a lot of places have been slowly working their way away from contraction, but it's slow, and we've seen, well, we did see, look, the UK services, it's above contraction. It's the only one that's actually expanding, or was the only one expanding as we looked at it, as I double look at it now from last month. We'll see what happens this month, but the figures certainly are sitting there in the contraction zone. What's forecast here, of course, the US slightly different. Also, services expected above the limit in the expansion side still. So we'll see what happens there. Traders will be watching this carefully. If it carries on in the expansion zone for the US, but in particularly, it might take away some of the more of the expectation of an early cut because of interest rates. Now, it looks, I was reading this morning that the Federal Reserve's Asia's believing that some of the cut is it's less likely to be cut in March now, in simple terms. Right, anyway, that's not really reflected on the way the dollar's been going overnight. So let's have a look at the charts, and starting off with the euro dollar. Yesterday the euro managed to break through its 200 here, and well, it was going in the right sort of direction there for a bit more of a continuation, and it might still be. I mean, what we've seen at the moment through the latest session there is a rally from sort of yesterday evening there. It's rallied back up to the underside of its yearly pivot there. Quarterly pivot, beg pardon. So it's run back to the underside there. It's a real test now, is if it holds there, or whether we see a break on through. I said yesterday, this one just seems too difficult to try and catch the what it's doing. It's too messy. Well, yesterday it really did start selling off in the morning there and through into the afternoon, and I thought, well, perhaps I misread that completely, but it's bounced right the way back again. So it's an odd one. So best left alone for now. The pound, just the same. Really, I'm looking at these markets or this market, and you're wondering where the hell this is going. Again, it was selling off. We've seen a recovery again. It broke the underside yesterday of this ascending channel. I would have expected a lot more out of that, but not to be at the moment. It found its S2 yesterday. Nice bounce off the S2. We'll see with this morning. A break of the daily pivot here. Well, could be a reasonable sign. The thing that really messes me up on this in terms of wanting to short it is just the overall daily pattern. It's just pretty much going sideward. I'd rather see some sort of trend coming through on it. The yen, well, the yen continues to stick around the highs here. It's really not moving too easily at all. It's sort of it did push, or the dollar pushed up yesterday. The yen weakened, but again we've seen this sort of the retrace of the dollar effectively here. So more softness really of the dollar more than anything else. It's just choked a little. Aussie dollar, similar picture in it's still looking good on the bearish side, but it's had quite a retrace here. It's got quite messy. It was looking absolutely brilliant on Monday night. Again yesterday, well, it did its little double top. It rolled over, looked okay, but it is somewhat struggling. Here it's consolidating. It's not even consolidating at the low any longer, which makes me wonder, is it going to push through now? Fundamentally, it's all lined up on the downside. For the downside, technically here is, let's say, it's got to be a bit of a mess. The Canadian dollar, not a lot of difference in this. They've got quite messy here. Was looking for more, expected more of a continuation for part of yesterday. It's of the markets, it's probably against the US. It's got probably the better chance of recovering some more. So this is, remember, this US dollar CAD could see some more downside on this, but well, it's got its little head and shoulders. You'll probably be seeing there. It's sort of broken the shoulder of that. Maybe this morning we'll see a bit more of a continuation to the downside. We'll see how things really show their hand post 8 o'clock. Got a bit of waiting to do on some of these. New Zealand dollar, it's also had its bounces again. I'm still sitting in a short on this. I'm short on the Aussie. I'm short on the New Zealand at the moment, both of them. But this has also had a bounce. Ended up on a positive day yesterday. The positive close. Again, though, it's around its lows. These are both swings, so you've got to just put up with the noise that occurs in between. But it has put a little higher low in there. We'll see see what happens. It's sort of double topping into its previous high here. Well, it looks like it's reacting to that at the moment, but there's little to be done on some of these. I'd rather wait a little bit longer if I'm going to be taking the other trades. Dollar Swissy, again, stuck around its highs here. I was looking to see if it would break. It has, to be fair, it's run into the first test of its yearly pivot there, its trend line. And so a bit of a reaction, probably not a great surprise there. It's really what it can do from here. If it did eventually take out these highs here, but as I said before, there's a hell of a lot of long positions already that were opened around this area, and they're sitting there long. And I just wondered whether that in itself would effectively be a bit of a resistance point. Okay, that's pretty much there. Yeah, lower highs here at the moment. So the Swiss is just really reacting to the moving average, the yearly pivot, etc. I'm going to leave the currencies there. Let's have just a quick look at the indices. I'll carry on with the currencies at 8:35ish. In the trading room, so we continue with that. With the other markets, gold continues to consolidate here. It's too awkward to trade, as is oil. As there's the lots of fundamentals suggest that oil should be pushing southbound, going downwards. But of course, we've got the geopolitical stuff that's going on, which would really normally drive it to the upside, and it's somewhere in between, and it's caught in between at the moment. It still has its yearly pivot above here, so it's got scope to push up some more. Paul, I'll answer that when I get back later. But yeah, this has got scope up to run into this area, but that might be as far as it gets. As I said, the general overall fundamental picture would be for a downside on the oil price, aside of the geopolitical side, which is causing a potential upside. And it's got into a chop, and it's awkward to trade. When you look at it on the short time frame, there was a 2 o'clock bar there yesterday. Was looking at this. It did pitch over a little bit in the end and push up after I said, well, this doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Well, it didn't go too far more, and then, well, it's consolidating. Bigger picture where it's got the high lows coming in there, it is just edging up there, but not massively. Equity markets, S&Ps, well, this is still continuing now. It managed to push up. Futures at the moment still pushing up with that weaker dollar. The Nasdaq, etc., all the same here at the moment. They're continuing through. As I said, we were seeing shooting stars and things yesterday. These aren't signs to start selling this market. It might be signs that these markets were correct at some stage, but it doesn't look like they even want to do that. Both of these have just gone back to the S&Ps here, not looking anything like it. The DAX is starting to finally break to looking like it wants to break out of this sort of descending channel-y pattern. It's not the clearest of patterns, but with this spike in the middle here, but it's given us further higher lows here, and it's on the 4-hourly time frame. It's doing its best to push up there, and well, looking a bit more positive. This could all turn quite quickly with the data coming out this morning. It can have a knock-on effect, obviously. Okay, and the pound, well, the FTSE, well, it is edging its way back up to with the others a little bit. We were looking at this yesterday and still sort of thinking, well, if it breaks the trend line here, with the general bigger trend coming to the downside, that would be probably a reasonable short, but it's not to be at the moment. And it would be a reasonable long if it was to get back down to these levels down here. If we can get a bounce off these prior lows, this is last year's pivot there. If it was to get a bounce off that sort of area, it's last year's main pivot is this year's S1. That would be a possible buy point around this area, but anyway, it's sitting in limbo at the moment, like a lot of the currency market. So you just got to wait our chances a bit more. Right, I'm going to leave it there. I wish you a great day if you're not coming into the trading room. If you come into the trading room, I'll see you in a short while. Right, let's got rid of those guys. Right, guys, I'm going to fly.